What's up? How you doing, man? This is Abebe Lewis. You watching my new show, Behind the Beats. I'm here with my brother, Mr. Rico Love, man. Man, I go way back with Rico Love. I got so much history, man, to speak with this brother right here, man. And I respect this brother so much when it comes to business, when it comes to production. But as a normal human being, I respect this guy, Rico Love, man. So I just want to say, Rico, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here to the beautiful Ghost Bar, Miami, across the street from the Hard Rock, to come, talk to us a little bit,
Absolutely. Anything for you, bro.
No problem, man. So, Rico, I know, let's get right to it, man. You've been in the game so long. Actually, like how long have you been in this business, Rico?
I've been in the music business for 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I think my introduction to the business as far as being around it was maybe 17 years, but actively, my first placement was in 2004.
Yeah.
March 2004. So 16 years strong.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So I know you've been working with so many artists, from Fergie to Chris Brown to A$AP Rocky, David Guetta, Wiz Khalifa, Mary J. Blige, man. Like, what was the first initial thing that like influenced you to get into the music business? What was it? What did you see? Was there a mentor? What was it?
As a kid, I always was just into music.
Okay.
I danced anytime music came on. I started writing poetry at a very young age, as soon as I learned how to write. So I would say like kindergarten, first grade, I started writing poetry innately, without anybody even teaching me poetry.
Okay.
Or the ABAB method or the AABB method. I just started understanding and like putting those principles together without even being taught it.
Yeah.
So I think that music was always thing that I was going to do. I think it chose me more than I chose it. But I never had a moment where I said, okay, I'm going to do music. It was just always there.
Yeah.
It was always a decision.
No, definitely. So what really, I know it's like a kind of like the same like a question, but what like inspired you? Like what inspired you to get into music? Because like certain things like inspired me, but like what was that kind of like turning point?
That Motown era.
Okay.
My dad made me watch Motown 25.
Yeah.
Back to back. So when Michael Jackson's Moonwalk moment, I listened to Stevie Wonder as a kid, and there was a show called VH1 Behind the Music when I was growing up, and it taught people about different artists that they otherwise wouldn't have known about.
Yeah.
So I learned about AC/DC and Def Leppard and Alice Cooper and Marvin Gaye and Ted Nugent and like just random artists. We would sit there and watch Behind the Music, and we would kind of learn and educate ourselves on those acts. And then I would go to Nobody Beats the Wiz or Sam Goody and buy those records and buy those tapes and listen to them and study the art. So I think between Motown tapes as a kid and learning about Smokey and Berry Gordy and Supremes and Stevie Wonder and Jackson 5, transitioning into that VH1 Behind the Music scene and watching those stories behind the artists, it always intrigued me, and it helped me want to sharpen and better my gift.
No, definitely, man. I know you're a man of many hats. You've been in the entertainment business, writer, executive producer, actor. It's so many different trades. Like, what's like your favorite? Like, what do you like doing the most?
Songwriting is my favorite.
Okay.
Like just being able to get in the studio and create. I think that's my favorite place to be. But I mean, obviously the stage, being on the stage is like so dynamic.
Yeah.
But the creation of the music is like parallel. I think they kind of meet neck and neck between creating the music and actually being able to perform it. But even when it's records that you don't perform, the power and the ability to create something out of nothing in the studio, it's like, I'm a studio rat. Like I live in the studio, so that portion of it is like, it's just addictive.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because the questions you're answering is like, I don't know the answers, but I kind of know because I've been there with you. I've seen you like come in with just creation and leave with like 4 hits in one day, and just I seen your grind, I seen your hustle, I seen like a whole room of producers, then I seen you by yourself, and I seen you build it back. I seen you just be so resilient, and that type of drive just don't happen overnight. Like, where you get that drive from? Where you get that just like, you know what? I'm down, I'm up. I'm down, I'm up. How do you just get that push, Rico?
I'm gonna be honest with you, guys like us, you don't get that from anywhere.
Yeah.
Some things are just in you.
Yeah.
Some things God gave you, and you can attest to it because you have that same thing in you.
Yes.
Where we just love the craft so much, and also I'm an honest person.
Yeah.
So a lot of situations where my back was against the wall, I had to react with integrity because I'm an honest good person.
Yeah.
So I think honest and good people, we take the brunt of
You're right.
some of the.
I feel like that.
You know, we take a lot of hits, but the resilience in you, and the hustle in you, and the grind in you, and the love and the passion that you have for the actual culture, it's always going. You always going to end up on top.
No, definitely, definitely. What was actually your first placement ever?
Throwback.
Wow.
It was on the Confessions album.
Usher.
First song ever.
How did that feel?
Incredible. You know, knowing that I wrote a song. The first song I ever wrote was on a Usher album, a guy who I grew up idolizing and looking up to, from Just Call Me the Mac to Can You Get With It to the My Way album to 8701, and being able to be on his project, it was incredible. It was one of those things where it was like, I was at the first place I bought it. It was a gas station across the street from Strokers in Atlanta. And it was Wednesday night. Strokers had the amateur night, and I used to go over there every night. But I went over to the gas station, and he was selling the CDs, and I bought my first. You know, the album I first was on, I opened up the credit, read my name,
Rico
and
Love.
couldn't believe it. It's incredible.
So I know working with Usher, such a great artist, did you, like, working with a lot of different artists, did you ever feel like starstruck or like overwhelmed, like working with certain artists? Like I seen you work with Beyonce and to be in the studio, I don't know if I can handle that experience, to sit there, be professional, be creative, and still be able to deliver and even have a conversation with these mega stars.
I was starstruck. Usher's one of my best friends, and I still have that feeling when I'm around him because he's such a legend. And Beyonce as well. You know, I just was at a cycling class in LA like a year ago, and Beyonce and Jay-Z came in, and I was like, and I know them, and it's still like, you know what I mean? So I think if you don't have that, man, if you don't have that feeling in your gut when you're around people you idolize, you know, I think you're missing out. That's an incredible feeling. We should always experience. We should keep that feeling. I think people become so grand that they feel like they don't want to talk about those. Like, oh, it's normal. And I come to perform and I come to do my job, so I'm always going to be a professional. But it still feels good to be around incredibly legendary artists. And I think that I would be remiss not to acknowledge and admit that it gives you those goosebumps and butterflies when you're around people at that level.
And be able to have that conversation and really get creative. Because I see you, when you create, you just don't create or just produce. Like, you want to get to know the artist, you want to get to know about them, you want to get to know, because you're actually like telling a story. We actually did a clip before we was promoting this for you. You come into the show and it talked about you and with the whole Beyonce situation, and it's like, that was crazy how you just, you still just push through that. You know what I'm saying? And got it done. Those are two monster records, Rico, man. Like, I can't even begin to, we had a lot of history, man. Rico spent years with me at Circle House, man. I mean, like, every day, every
Sundays,
day.
I'm talking about Sundays,
Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 40, 50 days straight of work. And I mean, a different artist every day, from Leona Lewis to ratchet artists, to pop artists, to EDM artists. That's why I know Rico was very vast. And, through all that, it's been a lot of adversity, and it's been so much, how do you say, good and bad. But I want to talk about guys like Diego. I want to say thank you for that, because Diego was a kid that interned at Circle House and ended up producing records with you. And that's like, to me, that was amazing, because I met Diego at a Power 96 conference. He came up to me and said, hey, I want a job. I didn't ever know that it was going to turn into him doing, I think, what records he did with you?
Diego did, he did a bunch of, he did Post Malone, he did Kevin Gates, he did Lil Pump, he did
the Florida Georgia line thing too.
A lot of records, man. He's a good kid, and he was an intern, and I always ask all the interns, like, what do you want to do? I produce. So one night, 4 a.m, I was getting ready to leave. I said, yo, play me something. And he played me some beats, and I wrote to him that night. I ended up signing him to my production company.
Opportunity. You heard that? Opportunity. Circle House, BB Marketing, Rico Love, we give opportunities. And this is why this man is so blessed, man. We always hear on Rico Love's records that whole turn the lights on, right? Rico, what does that mean, Rico? What does turn the lights on mean?
So I used to hang out in this club in LA called Area, and they would play this record by Pink Floyd called The Wall. And when you get to the point when they say, hey, teacher, leave those kids alone, all the lights would come on in the club. Like every night they played the same songs, and the lights would come on. So I would just say, turn the lights on every time that part would happen to myself.
Yeah.
So one day I was in the studio with my partner Mams, and I started saying it on records, and he said, yo, you should say that on all your songs.
Yeah.
So I started saying it, and it's kind of like a tag. And what happens is, as top liners is the guy who writes the lyric and melody.
Yeah.
As top liners, we didn't get enough credit.
Okay.
It was always about the track producer,
Yes.
the guy who produced the music.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a producer, I write lyric and melody, and I arrange music.
Yeah.
Meaning I don't play the actual instruments, but I arrange and produce a record.
Yeah.
So as a top liner, I gave a voice to us, and
Yeah.
I gave an energy and identity to us.
Yeah.
So that guys like, Sean Garrett started saying, if it's a pin on the radio, yes, I pinned it. And then Dream started saying Radio Killer. Like, all that was after Turn the Lights On.
Wow.
In fairness.
Yeah.
Because I created a tag and an energy. So what it was all about was just people understanding and recognizing my songs.
Yeah.
Because it was my calling card.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times the producer, they knew who did the beat.
But
they
never
didn't know who
wrote the song.
top line. So that's why I created Turn the Lights On.
And it's big now. Everybody know Turn the Lights On. You hear that in Hello, Good Morning. You hear that in every record, man. So, Rico, I want to know, is there any new ventures you got coming with this year or next year?
Yeah. I had a label deal over at Epic. Shout out to Sylvia Rowan. I got D1MG, my label. I signed a new artist named Mia Ariana.
Definitely.
Incredible artist out of Charlotte. I have the We Love Music conference that I developed 5 years ago.
Yes, that's big.
Things.
That conference is big, man. If you don't know
conference
about that
huge,
conference, follow Rico Love on Instagram. You'll learn a lot from his conference.
Yeah, so we did 2 years in South Africa. We did Baltimore, Milwaukee, Indianapolis. We kind of building and growing this thing. I'm also developing talents agency for artists who are trying to develop themselves all across the board.
Yeah.
And just building the brand and taking everything to the next level. And management company as well. But the label venture is I'm super excited about that because I feel like we work so hard, and if you can break one act, it makes up for all of the other acts.
No, definitely.
And I'm kind of steadfast when it comes to my dream of building the next Motown.
Yeah. Well, you on your way, man. You definitely on your way because you put in that work, and you definitely deserve all the accolades you get, Rico, because I seen personally your hard work and dedication into this music business. You know what I'm saying? I always hear you talking about the Grammys. What's your position with the Grammys?
I'm on the board of trustees for the Grammys.
Okay.
One of the main decision makers for the entire Grammy organization.
Wow.
One of the few African Americans on the board, but also one of the youngest people who kind of keep that innovation and that energy. And if you are out there and you have the qualifications to become a voting member, I encourage you all to become voting members, especially if you from the Latin community, from the African American community. Black and brown people got to come together and join the NARIS and really be active in the Recording Academy. Yes. Yeah, I'm on the board of trustees. A lot of different roles I play in the organization, and it's very important to me. And eventually, my dream is to be in a position to kind of cause and shift the change that kind of change the face of what the Grammys has become behind the scenes.
Definitely. I know the pandemic hit, right? Some people say it didn't affect them. Some people say it did affect them. How did you deal with the pandemic?
It affected us in a way where, I just did a label deal. I just signed an artist. We just finished the EP. We're getting ready to put it out, and then we frozen. We can't move. So I think that the hustle in me though is always going to make a way.
Yes.
Always going to figure it out. Always going to produce and write records. I just finished Black Zach's project. Just came out called 803 Legend. Shout out to Interscope. Shout out to Barreline and King Carter and South Coast Music Group. But I think that you got to keep active. You got to keep working.
Yes.
You got to stay in the trenches with it. You know what I mean? And we still got to put records out. Had #1 record on City Girls and producing and building, and just keep active, keep busy. You can't sit around. No matter what's going on, you got to make sure that you got your best foot forward and making the best of it. We can mope, we complain about all the money we miss, but then if we talk about that, we're gonna miss out on more money. So all I care about is the money that I can get to and opportunities I can get to. And you know me, I'm not a money guy. I never talk about money. But when I speak about money, when you hear me saying money, I'm talking about just the opportunities to be in those rooms.
Yes,
because that's more important.
I want to just show off a little bit. I don't want to talk much, but man, I'm looking at this list of production credits. It is so many songs that I can't even say. But we can go down a little bit, man. We can, shit, Rico, can you help me out, man? Like, shit, man. From Romeo Santos. Who puts Romeo Santos and Lil Wayne together? Like, who does that, man? Who does that? Romeo Santos, Usher, French Montana, City Girls, shit, Nelly, Pleasure P, Kelly Rowland, A$AP Rocky, Sierra, Carrie Hilson, Marcus Houston, Donnell Jones, goddamn, Natasha Bedingfield, Michelle Williams, Beyonce, like Chris Brown. This is like ridiculous, Rico, man. Sometimes you gotta wake up and you just gotta. I know you're a very spiritual person, so I know sometimes you wake up and just thank the Lord, man. Because Rico, nobody can ever say anything bad about my Rico to me. You know why? Because, man, I got nothing but love for that guy, man. And look what he's accomplished throughout his illustrious career. We can only, and songwriters can only just say they got 1 or 2 hits, Rico. You have a magnitude, a multitude of hit records, man. So, like, man, Rico, I commend you on everything that you're doing. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for Division 1. I'm happy for Turn the Lights On. I'm happy for all our boys, man. But if you had one message to a fan or somebody trying to get in the music business, what advice would you give them during this pandemic time? They're older. They're fresh out of high school. What should they pursue their dreams right now, music, or what should they do? What do you think?
You always got to pursue it. I would say this though, the gift is in you, right?
Okay.
That's my mantra, that's my motto, that's my mission statement. The gift is in you, but that's not enough. Now we know that the gift is in us. Now we know that everything that we want is within our reach because it's inside of us. How do we get the gift from inside of us to outside of us in the world to see? And if you focus and understand that all of the strength in the world is in you.
Yes.
The next step is being able to say, how do I get what's here out here?
Okay.
And when you find your voice, it's a mission to find the voice.
It is.
It's a mission to be able to identify with the thing that makes you great.
Yeah.
When you figure that out, you're golden.
Yes.
And it sounds like so difficult. Like, oh, how do I do that? But it's about diving into the things you love, exploring, and experimenting with sounds, experimenting with things you see and traveling. But when you figure out how to get the gift from inside of you to the outside of you, you're golden. Remember that, and you'll be okay.
Any advice for young producers and young songwriters? Like,
study the game.
Study the game.
Just listen to everything.
Okay.
You know, I listen to Coltrane. I listen to Miles Davis. I listen to the Supremes. I listen to, Minnie Riperton. I'm listening to Luther Vandross. Everything, I study it. I'm a student of it, and I understand it, and I'm a fan of every genre of music. I find greatness in everything. You know, Enter the Sandman by Metallica is one of my favorite songs, and I listen to, and I study even metal, hard rock, soft rock, hip hop, R&B, folk, bluegrass, everything. You listen to it, you become a fan. I remember going to a Paul Simon show at the Hard Rock and being just stunned by the level of the songwriting and being a fan and becoming a fan, and and we cannot run from the music. We got to understand that we are students of the music. We are slaves to the music. The music is everything. And if you feel like you're bigger than the songs, you lost. None of us are bigger than the music, and we understand. Michael Jackson is not bigger than the music.
Yes.
Whitney Houston is not bigger than the music. No matter who you are, Beyonce is not bigger than the music. The music is the biggest, and when you understand that, you always go win.
Definitely. We have a new segment on the show called Behind the Song. So Rico's going to give us some insight behind one of the songs that he wrote and produced. And this song is City Girls.
Twerk,
Twerk. And that's Cardi B featuring the City Girls.
Yeah.
Definitely. What role did you play in the song?
I produced the record, produced the beat, and I wrote the lyrics and the melody.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do was I wanted to speak the language of the audience that I feel like the City Girls is kind of like catering to, but also in a way that wasn't traditional to what the Miami sound was. I went to borrow from New Orleans. Okay. And funny thing is, the actual beat, myself and Nova, we created the music maybe 3 or 4 years before.
Wow.
Because after I did Ball for T.I., it became a #1 record, I always said, you got to keep this sound going. And I remember telling my guys to do it, and nobody was listening. But Nova made a track, so when I was in the City Girls, I grabbed that track and I started writing to it. And it was really about speaking the language of speaking to the audience that they already have, but also kind of expanding it and creating that New Orleans, that Nola bounce is a strong,
was very
strong. A strong element, even now to this day. So I was able to kind of like take that, grab that, and start saying the things that I felt like was true to them, but also challenging to them lyrically. You know
what was your favorite part of making that song?
Watching them, when they watched me go in the booth and do the lyrics, it kind of blew them away. Because you understand, JT writes her rhyme. So for her to be able to say, cool, I'm gonna let you rock on this one. It was cool. Do it, baby. Stick it, baby. Move it, baby. Lick it, baby. Suck up on that clinton to that pussy got a hickey, baby. Like giving that energy and watching them see like a more of a lyrical prowess as opposed to just like hashtag lines. It was more about the cadence and flow and pocket, and they did a great job of capturing it.
Definitely. During the creative process, what's something that you kind of always do, or you always do something different?
I think it's definitely a signature sound. I definitely have a signature sound. I don't know if I can recognize it at this point. I don't know if I can just pinpoint it. I mean, obviously I know it's me and I know my style. But I think that I've been doing it so long that it's kind of innate. It's kind of like one of those things where I'm even...
It's just second nature almost.
Yeah, second nature for sure.
What are some tips you'd give creatives when it comes to putting songs together?
Study everything, be a fan of everything, and it's almost like your mind becomes a musical melting pot. And you'll be able to reference different types of sounds and dialects and nuances and cadences because you're such a student and you've been listening to so much music that when you start to create, you got this melting pot musically. And what happens is you'll develop your own style because you'll lean toward the things that make that kind of catch your ear and capture your energy. But then also the part of you, it'll be like, okay, I'm doing this kind of my rendition of Garth Brooks riff, but it's me. So it seems different. It seems like when you listen to Pharrell is very, very, he's trying to capture this really soulful energy, right? Pharrell is trying to capture what Charlie Wilson does. But because he's not Charlie Wilson, because he's Pharrell, it sounds so unique. When you listen to Pharrell singing, his bounce is very Gap Band Charlie Wilson. But when you hear him, it doesn't sound anything like that because he was able to borrow from it, but it becomes so him that it feels like something brand new. But it's classic at the same time.
Definitely, man. Rico, thank you so much. You're watching Behind the Beats. This is our new segment called Behind the Song. And did you hear Rico Love talk, man? He sounded like a psychologist, goddamn therapist, man, with this music, man. So you got to understand what you're doing. You got to understand where you're going, and you got to have purpose when you do this. You can't just be summer everywhere and you think you're going to accomplish stuff. Man, follow Rico Love, right? Follow his conference, follow what he's doing. Rico, how can they find you on social media?
I am Rico Love on Instagram. I am Rico Love on Twitter. Rico Love Music on Facebook. We always around.
Definitely, man. Rico, thank you so much. We're going to go upstairs, the Ghost Bar, drink a little Henny, have a little fun, man. Thank you. We out.
Turn the lights on.